The 2014 NBA Finals, another championship series, LeBron James gets outplayed by another player. And in this case, it's young Kawhi Leonard putting the clamps on LeBron James, pretty much taking him out the series, being rough and physical and aggressive with him. Press Sports, let's get into it.
Welcome to Prince Sports!
What's good, guys? Prince Sports coming at you with another one. Now, this is part 2 to LeBron James being the stat stuffer. We're going to keep coming up with receipts, and we're going to keep proving that this man has cost a lot of his teams NBA championships that he left on the table. All right? That's another reason why he can't be the GOAT. Whenever you lose 6 NBA finals, you have to be held responsible for that. It's not just your teammates' fault, okay? Some of it is your fault, especially when you play at the level that LeBron James has played. Yeah, the numbers look good on paper, but we all know numbers are just numbers, especially if it's not put into context, especially if we got proof that it's stat padding and it's not efficient numbers. It's not effective numbers. Let's get into it with more receipts. Now, from the jump, Kawhi Leonard is all over LeBron James, stifling defense. He came to play. Look at him poking the ball away from LeBron James. Great defense by Kawhi Leonard, already taking LeBron James out the game, being physical with him. Now, this is a good example if you wonder if LeBron James fared well in the 80s and 90s. This is nothing compared to the hits that he would have been taking in the 80s and 90s. All the flopping and going down, crying and complaining, he would have had problems. Not saying he wouldn't have been a great player, though, but still he would have had problems. Look at that last play. Kawhi takes him to the hoop, being physical and aggressive, a guy that wants it more. Now, where's this great scoring from LeBron James? You're supposed to be a great scorer, right? And you're supposed to be a better scorer than Micah and Kobe. These guys have a perfect skill set to score better than you. And look at this. Kawhi Leonard stops LeBron James again, all over him. That defense, contested jump shots, hand in the face, luring LeBron James into traps, setting great defensive schemes against LeBron. And look at the number of the game. It's not even blown out yet. So LeBron James, this is your moment when you're supposed to be taking control of the series and the game as the alpha and the best player on the team, but you failed. And instead, look what you're doing. You're quitting. I never seen great players actually quit on the biggest moment there is. Stop crying. Get your ass up and play basketball. LeBron James went into passive mode. He didn't even attempt to try to score on Kawhi Leonard. All right. Only time he attempted to score is when the game was blown out of proportion and Kawhi Leonard wasn't guarding him anymore, so he could pick up those numbers that he has. Those numbers are non-effective numbers. They mean nothing. They look good on a piece of paper, but in terms of winning basketball, it did absolutely nothing. So if you answer the question, what could LeBron James did to help his team win? He could have played efficient basketball. He could have actually played basketball to win the game, and he could actually take on the challenge of going at Kawhi Leonard, something he did not do in the whole damn finals. He got outplayed from the beginning to the end. Okay, it ended in 5 games, and 4 of those 5 games pretty much was already decided in the Spurs' favor because LeBron James already quit once they put Kawhi Leonard on him. Whenever your star player is passing the ball in the NBA Finals, when he's supposed to be the guy that's scoring and putting his foot on your neck, what I told you about basketball. You're going to learn about basketball from me. What did I tell you? Basketball is broken down into 2 simple formats: offense and defense. The superstar that shows that the most is a superstar that's going to most likely lead his team to victory. Okay? This is the same team that beat the San Antonio Spurs the season before. I don't want to hear that nonsense that the Spurs was on a mission. They were unbeatable. No, they weren't. LeBron James just quit. It's simple as that. Take responsibility for your losses and stop being a slurper. Okay? Kawhi Leonard didn't even hit his prime, and he's outplaying LeBron James. He's physically pitting bodies on LeBron. I mean, like, come on, dog. He bringing that heat, accepting the challenge. Now let's take a look at Kawhi's defense and offense. Look what his defense did to LeBron James later on in the series. LeBron goes into passive mode, not even looking for his own shot. He would go quarters without trying to score. scared and hesitant to even attempt to try to score against Kawhi Leonard. What are you afraid of, man? I thought you was the man. Michael Jordan would have accepted that challenge. Kobe would have accepted that challenge. So LeBron's just going to sit there and wait till the game gets blown out of reach. He finally attempts a bad shot over Kawhi Leonard because that was a forced shot. But Kawhi Leonard's already rough shot all over this whole series. And look at Kawhi Leonard on the offensive end. Attacks LeBron, gets whatever he wants on LeBron. LeBron is helpless. Defense having no effect on Kawhi Leonard. He's playing better than LeBron James on both ends of the floor. And here's a little tad bit. Kawhi Leonard usually outplays LeBron in their one-on-one matchups. But you didn't know that. Oh, but I guess that doesn't matter because it's not LeBron James doing it, right? More plays. Kawhi Leonard's even moving without the ball. Bad defense from LeBron. He leaves Kawhi Leonard wide open. Same thing you did in the 2017 championship. Basically leaving Kevin Durant wide open for three. Is that smart IQ? Smart basketball IQ? I think not. Kawhi Leonard cooking LeBron James. LeBron James utterly scared. This is why we say scared and you disappeared in games. Because you don't want the smoke. You know, with the other greats, when they lost, they went out blasting. Why LeBron James ain't going out blasting? Too busy worrying about your stats, huh?
Kawhi Leonard was young, all right? That's the funny part about it. He wasn't even in his prime. This was not supposed to happen. LeBron James was supposed to be the best player in the game of basketball. You have to show up other than just padding stats and having points that is meaningless. This performance was just as bad as the 2011 performance against the Dallas Mavericks. You want to know why? It's because realistically, LeBron James averaged about 15 points a game, period. And that came when Kawhi wasn't even guarding him. The minute Kawhi was on him, LeBron James' turnovers went up and his effectiveness on the basketball court went down, okay? He completely disappeared in the series. And when your best player on the floor is disappearing, everybody else will just drop off. It's like a domino effect. You got to show up. This never happened to Mike, all right? You want to be as good as Michael Jordan, then you better be closing these series out in a better format and fashion, especially when you played with more talent, more big threes, and overall more Hall of Famers than Michael Jordan could ever dream about playing with. You know, same thing goes for Kobe. But here's the thing with the media. They like to disrespect every other player and downgrade these guys as if what they did wasn't better than LeBron James. There's some guys that got better individual accolades and better team success, which is the main measurement for being the GOAT, period. The GOAT was never based about scoring, having records or breaking records. It never was about that. If that was the case, Wilt Chamberlain 100 points would have meant that he's the greatest scorer of all time. Nobody even sit there and says he's the greatest scorer of all time just because he scored 100 points. And the guy averaged 50 points in a whole damn season, half of that 100 that he scored in one game. But yet, we still don't call him the greatest scorer. It's because records never determine who was the GOAT and never will. And as long as that's being taken place, we're not going to move the goalposts and we're not going to change basketball for LeBron James. We're going to keep that same energy and we're going to judge everybody accordingly, the fair and right way. And as long as guys like me around to tell the truth and be non-biased and just point out facts, it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and lie for LeBron James. I'm not going to sit here and act like I get paid for Clutch Sports. I am here to tell the truth. And I showed you receipts, proof, facts. It's all in the play. And the numbers speak for themselves, yes. But at the same time, numbers don't lie, but they damn sure manipulate. Especially if you don't understand them right. You got to watch the games. Prince Sports out. Peace.
I got a question for you slurpers. How's those numbers and stats looking now? When the game matters the most, a guy worrying about whether he shoots 50% from the field or worrying about whether he has a triple-double or not, stat padding for rebounds. Is that effective basketball? Is that winning basketball for you? If he wasn't stat padding so much, he would have had more championships. You do realize that, right? Okay.